My name is Paloma Shaw. I am a campus recruiter at Rehmann. I've been with the firm for about 5 years in this campus recruiting capacity, but did start my career in accounting/audit before coming over to Rehmann. And I could throw it over to Nicole to allow her to introduce herself too.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Nicole Collins. I'm also a campus recruiter at Rehmann. Been with the firm for 2 years now, similar to Paloma, started my career in audit. I do have my CPA, so definitely can relate to this recruiting process you're all going through and meeting with all these different firms.
So today we're going to specifically talk about LinkedIn and how to really master LinkedIn, which is especially important in this virtual environment.
And wanted to do just a really quick overview of who Rehmann is. For those of you that don't know, we are a CPA business consulting financial services firm. We are a mid-market firm, so right around 900 team members with offices in Michigan, Florida, and Ohio.
Okay, so again, why is LinkedIn so important? I'd say it's especially important in this virtual environment where I see a lot of familiar faces on this call today, but I see a lot of unfamiliar ones too. Maybe we don't recruit at your school, so then you just apply on Handshake or on our website, and all we see is your resume, right? So we have no idea of who you are, your interests, we have no additional information on you. But if you have your LinkedIn profile on your resume, that gives us the opportunity to click on that profile and learn more about you, see your activity, maybe see some of the things that you weren't able to fit on your resume. And if you're open to putting up a profile photo, it also puts a face to a name. Maybe we have met before, but I just didn't remember. So that's where the LinkedIn profile can be really helpful. And it's hard to make connections in this virtual environment too, right? Seeing someone's face on Zoom isn't exactly the most memorable way to get to know someone and remember them. So keeping or having a LinkedIn profile and connecting with people on LinkedIn is a great way to maintain that long-term relationship and build that relationship over time.
So we'll go over the profile really quickly because we know a lot of you are probably familiar with kind of how to build out a profile, but I'll give a few key tips for you. So it's always great if you can create a custom LinkedIn URL. I know that's something that I had done. You really just go to, edit LinkedIn URL, you just go to edit contact info, and then you would click on the profile URL link and you can edit it there. So it's great to do, have linkedin.com/your name. If you have a really common name like I do, I had to add like numbers at the end, but it just makes you come up a lot quicker in searches. And it looks professional too if you send that to anyone as well. And then, build out your profile the same way you would your resume. I'm sure a lot of you know that, but include, bullets for your work experience and really build it out in the same way and include anything that you would showcase on a resume on that LinkedIn profile. And then it's always great to include the profile photo, like Paloma said, it puts that face to the name. And don't feel like it needs to be a professional shot. I'm pretty sure when I was in college, I had my friend on her like somewhat professional camera take a picture of me like against my dorm wall, but it was at least like a clean headshot. So just kind of have that like clean background and get a headshot that way. Don't feel like it has to be this professional photo.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about brand too. So how do you develop your brand on LinkedIn? So just a few tips for you. Follow up with people regularly that are important to you. So it can be sometimes a little bit difficult to follow up via email on a regular basis, and also email addresses change, right? So I mentioned before to you all, I started my career in audit. So I recruited with, I think, 5 different firms back in the day. And I don't have any of their contact information anymore. I used my Oakland email address to contact all of them, lost all those email addresses, don't know where they work, don't even know that I remember their names. I didn't connect with them on LinkedIn. So those connections are essentially lost to me. You don't want to be in that same boat. Maybe you do recruit with Rehmann and you don't accept an offer from us, or we don't give you an offer. Who knows? 5 years down the line, you might want that offer for maybe a tax senior or something like that. So that's where making those connections, following up regularly can be helpful. And then also interact with posts and post a decent amount yourself too. So I do post on LinkedIn a lot. I'd say like every few weeks I'm posting things on LinkedIn, sometimes Rehmann related, sometimes just general things that get me excited. So it's not often I'd say students that we're recruiting interact with those posts, but when they do, I do notice their names. There were a few students in particular this year who interacted with me a lot on LinkedIn. And again, I do remember their names. So when I saw them, I'm glad they applied, and I'm glad that we extended them an interview offer because I know they're really interested. also super rare that I see students making posts on LinkedIn. So sharing a post just shows that you're engaged. You're engaged in your career, you're looking to make connections, and that you're taking a really active approach to the job search process as opposed to a passive approach. And I find that especially really impressive in this virtual environment where we're all a little bit tired and a little bit exhausted of everything. So especially if you're taking a really active approach to the recruitment process, I certainly appreciate it. And then last tip, be careful with what you post on LinkedIn too and what you like on LinkedIn. So for example, I feel really passionate about diversity, inclusion, racial justice. So I do like those posts on LinkedIn. I do post about that myself, but I also like other individuals' posts. And I know that Nicole and everyone on this call is connected with me can see that post. And I'm really comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that being part of my brand. Other people might say, yes, Paloma, I feel the same way, but I don't want that to be part of my brand. That's fine. Maybe you don't like those posts. Or some people might say that doesn't necessarily align with my values. Again, maybe you're not liking those posts on LinkedIn. Just be aware that whatever you like, other people can see too. So make sure you're liking things that really align with your brand and that you feel are truly a professional, honest, genuine representation of who you are.
And then for creating a post, I want to give you some tips on that. So you can always just share a link, web page, or photo. What I will say is, that might not get as many views, and it's probably not gonna, make that much of an impression of you either. So you probably won't get as many views on that. You're not really sharing your own thoughts, so you could definitely make that a little bit better. So if you step that up one notch would be, sharing that link or that web page or that article, and then maybe sharing your thoughts on it or something that you noticed in that article that really stood out to you. So a little bit better, but we could still make that even better. And really the best piece would be sharing that link or that article or a photo with like a story or your own like personal thoughts or something that really adds value. So I know when sometimes I'll just share things that Rehmann posts, and I definitely get less views on those shared posts than when I make something, on my own. I'm sharing, my own link, I'm creating my own content, and I definitely get the most views on those. So if you're looking to really, stand out, get more recruiters or other professionals seeing your posts, making it a little bit more personal is going to do that.
So let's talk about how we can actually utilize LinkedIn as a resource, right? A lot of what we talked about today or what we talked about up to this point, is how can individuals like Nicole and myself and all the other recruiters on this call benefit from your LinkedIn profile. Let's talk about now how you can really benefit from creating a LinkedIn profile. Again, connecting with people a few days after meeting them, it is truly very difficult, generally speaking, to maintain connections long term. So LinkedIn is the best way to do it. I truly don't think that email or phone calls or anything like that can have the same impact as LinkedIn. I'd say the second best thing would be the only better thing could be text messages. You're probably not on texting terms with your recruiter though, so that's where LinkedIn comes into play. And then sending a personalized message when you connect too, it makes it more likely that they're going to accept that connection and that you can really utilize that individual, learn from them, ask them questions, see what they're posting. So definitely send that personalized message as well. Because kind of going into point number three, I'm an accounting recruiter, right? So I work at a public accounting consulting firm, but I'll get like mechanical engineering students connecting with me, which is fine, but then there's no personalized message that comes with it. And I'm wondering why this mechanical engineering candidate from California is connecting with me. So I'm not likely to accept that connection. So definitely personalize that message and just be smart about who you're connecting with too. And remember that if you don't necessarily know someone on a personal level and you don't feel comfortable connecting with them, you can follow them as well. So if you go to their profile, you might see a follow button. You might need to click on a drop down to get that follow button, but most people you can follow where they don't necessarily have to accept your request, but you can still see what they're posting. Great way to learn from those individuals. Again, see what they're posting, learn from those articles, learn about them without necessarily having to connect with that person.
And then when it comes to making those connections and first reaching out with that connection, there's the obvious, like, hello, I'd like to add you to my professional network. What I will say is it's almost like the automated message LinkedIn does. So you could definitely make that a little bit better and make it a little bit more personable. So that next step up would be, hey, Nicole, it was great meeting you and I'd love to stay connected. again, I get a lot of messages like that. And if I, was at a career fair and I met you at a career fair, I also met, 30 other students that day, then it might not, trigger my memory of who it is that I was talking with. So the best thing you can do is really share that experience. So say, hey, Nicole, thanks for taking the time to chat with me at this career fair. Your insight on how to choose a fulfilling career path really helped me a great deal. So making sure that you mention something that you talked about, that's just gonna, help the recruiter remember right away who you were and make that good impression as well.
Okay, viewing profiles. So it's definitely okay if someone knows that you looked at their profile. I know that I used to be a little bit nervous about that when I was a student. Like, I didn't want people to know that I looked at their profile. I thought it was weird. But no, that's okay, especially looking at recruiters' profiles, especially looking at profiles of the employees who work at that company. Totally fine. I know about any of you, but when I'm actively dating though, I definitely am stalking people online and like looking up their LinkedIn profiles, like seeing where they work and whatnot. And that, in that case, don't want them to see me. Or maybe I just looked at Nicole's profile like yesterday and the day before. I don't want her to see them looking at her profile for the third time. That might be a little bit creepy, right? So there are ways that you can look at profiles without them knowing. So that's where you can disable viewing rights in your settings, or just use an in private browser. So get an in private browser going on, say, Google Chrome, type in Nicole Collins, Rehmann, LinkedIn. She should be one of the first people that come up. You can click on that profile and she'll never know that you looked at it. So definitely know that it's okay to look at profiles, but there are ways that you can do it privately too if you really needed to.
And then LinkedIn's also great for your job search. So I'm pretty sure when I was looking to make a career change and get into camp-based recruiting, I found this role actually on LinkedIn. So it's definitely an easy way to search for available positions. It's a great way, obviously as you're adding recruiters, as you meet them, you kind of know, more about the company. Then you'll see, say you add Plomer, you're going to see all the events we're going to be at because we'll be sharing them on LinkedIn, and you'll see maybe some news about Rehmann because we'll be sharing that. So you'll just learn a lot more about the company and have even more of that background. And you'll probably know a lot quicker if new openings do open up. So definitely a good job search tool and something to utilize if you are looking for a new role.
And then this is probably my favorite way to use LinkedIn. So this is basically becoming like a low-key professional stalker, but doing it to your absolute benefit. So say, for example, you're not going to be in public accounting for life, right? That's okay. Don't tell us that, but maybe in the back of your head, I'm going to leave public accounting at some point because I really want to be a CFO of a small automotive supplier. That's your dream. Then maybe you're looking up small automotive suppliers, COOs or CEOs on LinkedIn. So find those individuals and figure out what path did they take. Okay, they also started in public accounting. They became a CPA. Oh, okay, it's a decent mix. Some started in audit, some started in tax. All of them went to corporate at some point, or all of them ended up getting an MBA at some point. I don't know if any of this is true. Don't take my word for it. These are just examples, but you can really figure out what someone's path is and figure out, okay, this is a path I need to take to get into that same type of role. And also look at what these individuals are doing on LinkedIn. What are they interacting with? What are they posting? It'll give you a good idea of just kind of the mindset that those individuals have, what they're posting, what they're learning about, kind of maybe what they do in their job as well. And maybe you're seeing that one of them posts a lot about this newsletter that they really like. Maybe you should start following that newsletter too. Subscribe to that newsletter so you can get that same type of information. I know we're talking about a position that would be really far out for you, but why not start early in getting into the right mindset and getting the right knowledge to have that type of position one day? And then think, can this person be my mentor, right? So say you are connected with me, for example, and you want to go into HR, and you're seeing that I'm posting a lot on LinkedIn, and I finally post about something that you're really interested in. It's a volunteer activity, and that really excites you. Maybe you're going to send me a direct message about that saying, hey, Paloma, I'm really passionate about that volunteer opportunity as well. Would love to get on a call to talk about that, and also about your background in HR, because I'm also really interested in going into HR. Then we have that phone call. That might be a great avenue into asking, hey, Paloma, do you think you could be my mentor as I'm looking to graduate and get my first full-time opportunity in human resources? successes. So this could be a great way, finding these individuals that you really admire, whose path you might want to emulate. Good way to also figure out, can these individuals be your mentor and help you find success too? So definitely do this quote unquote research on LinkedIn. It could be a huge benefit to you.